Rafael, I don't know about you, but I am really excited about our guest today.
Am too. Oh my gosh, Yvonne, I really am. I'm excited because I think he brings so much of what our industry is doing right to our table. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Well, and I have to say thank you to you because you attended RIMS this year, which was in Chicago.
Yep.
So our guest today is thanks to Rafael for making the connection. It's Darrell Mathis, and he is the Director of Workers' Compensation for the City of Chicago.
I did. I met him in Chicago, and he was just, as soon as we got talking, like, we have got to have you on the podcast.
So, folks, I was telling Rafael, I don't know if any of our interview made any sense because I was just fangirling the entire time. You're going to learn some really interesting stuff about Darrell that he shared. I don't know him. I've never met him, but, thank goodness people like to share about themselves. We learned some really interesting things about Darrell, how he journeyed into the work comp industry, and he loves what he does. So God bless him. He loves doing his job. He actually said it's his calling.
Yep. And I believe it too, because he really is. He's so focused on doing right, on making it good. Oh, I love it.
So grab your beverage of choice, put your headphones in, because we're going to have a nice conversation with Darrell Mathis. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go do it. Hey, Ralph, how are you?
I'm doing great, Yvonne. How about you? How's it going in your neck of the woods?
It's going really great, and I'm so excited about our guest today. Hello, Darrell. How are you?
Hello, Yvonne and Rafael. Good to be with you today.
I just can't tell you how excited I am to talk with you and get to know more about you. As we were chatting before we started recording, you and I have never met. You and Ralph just met earlier this year, but I've got a ton of questions. Darrell, you are the Director of Workers' Compensation for the City of Chicago. Is that correct?
That is correct. I've held the role for about 5 years.
I was going to say, I just saw that you posted recently about celebrating 5 years there. So congratulations on that.
Yes.
And we've got so much to talk about. We've got so much to talk about. So I'm going to dive right in. Before we get into talking about your role and workers' compensation, we always like to start with our guests to learn about your journey into workers' compensation. So please describe how that happened for you.
Wow. It's 33 years for me now. And it started, my mom worked for a broke house, Alexander and Alexander. And I got out of college and she says, there's a job in claims. And I said, what's a claim? And and I became a medical only examiner in 1992. Progressively over the years, with the increasing responsibility, I've been afforded the opportunity to work with major carriers, self-insureds, TPAs, did a little marketing and selling of ancillary DME products, nurse case management. So I've had brokers on the broker side as well. And I've had a full myriad of the risk transfer transactional standpoint, a policy being dead until a claim happens. That claim happening part has taken me all over the world. And I tell my wife all the time, the claims have taken us to some really interesting places, from the rural to the most sophisticated urban. And it's just been an exciting journey.
That's amazing. So it sounds like this was your dream job. You dreamed about becoming a claims adjuster and working in claims, and that's all you ever thought about, right?
Sorta. And I'll explain that. I was helping my mom study for CPCU exams when I was in high school, middle school. Like, who would want to do this stuff? This stuff is really boring. But I guess during that time, the bug of insurance and risk transfer kind of stuck with me. In my high school yearbook, it says this: I want to be mayor of Chicago. I don't want to be mayor of Chicago. Mayor Johnson, I do not want to be mayor of Chicago. and or an accountant. This is the mix that I'm looking for of those two worlds. And I've had the opportunity to really understand the apparatus of government and how it works for constituents in a major city. So yeah, I love this city so much. It is exciting to be in this role for that reason.
That's awesome. Thank you. So, Ralph and I say the same thing often. We don't understand when people say things like workers' compensation is boring, it's too complicated. We love it. We think that it's just the right kind of complex to keep you always learning, right? We learn something different every day, and no 2 days are alike. So we love that. All right. So as we said, you've just recently celebrated last month, I think it was last month, 5 years with the city of Chicago. And I read in a post that you made about that several of the core components of your program there, and I'm going to read them out. You said that municipal code changes are part of that, litigation strategy alignment, and paying what we owe. I'd like you to walk us through that, because those sound like pretty basic concepts that everybody would be looking at in their workers' comp program. So tell us why that.
Yes, someone probably said, man, he's Captain Obvious. But no, sometimes my mother-in-law says a statement all the time. She says, common sense isn't always common. And so what happened here, I inherited a program that was being mismanaged. And the empirical proof of that, Grant Thornton had come in and did an audit in 2018. That delivered a report that was essentially indicative of all the things that we could do as a city to improve our program. And so those things that I listed, the municipal code change, it changed from one organization within the city, one entity in the city, to the comptroller of the city, from Committee on Finance to the Department of Finance. That took a muni code change. In addition to that, we've been afforded an opportunity to increase our payment of residual impairment obligations with an increase in authority. I say that long definition because I don't want it to be construed as necessarily settlement as we would look for it in the tort world. It's not necessarily that. We owe this money for folks that were unfortunately injured. And so that took an appropriations ordinance change to make sure that we were able to afford injured workers the value of their residual impairment costs. In addition to that, I talked about the muni code changes, but then I also talked about litigation strategy. So most of the litigation prior to me managing and taking over this role was managed by our Department of Law. And it was a significant amount of cases that were hanging out at the Illinois Workers' Compensation Commission for years, and in some cases, decades. And it was really because of resources. The Department of Law didn't necessarily have a full slate of counsel. And so what we've done is we've incorporated quite a bit of panel counsel into our strategy. And because of limited settlement authority, a lot of the Department of Law's protocol was to, well, I don't have enough of an authority, I'll leave myself at the mercy of the arbitrator, which was generating exorbitant awards relative to workers' compensation, some of which we're paying for today. And then finally, paying what we owe. We get into scorched earth battles about the value of claims. And I have to be honest about it. If you were to break your leg, you would want the most you could possibly get out of it for residual impairment. So I don't blame the petitioner's bar for doing their jobs. That's what they're supposed to do. but they go overboard. And we need to be aggressive about what we owe. And so, is it fair? We're not underpaying you, but at the same time, we're not going to overpay you. And I think that being fair about it has permeated the bar here in Cook County, where they understand that we're willing to resolve some of these outstanding matters with you, but we really need you to come to the table with realistic expectations. And then we did that aggressively. At a clip of, and I'll put it in percentages, we were operating at a 130%, 125% closing rate to try to get a lot of it out the door and taking care of our obligations.
Well, that sounds reasonable. I know that a lot of times, a common theme here on our podcast is exactly that. If people would just focus on paying what they owed instead of getting caught up in the denials and the fights, if you will, then things would be so much better. So thank you for summarizing that for us. I know I want to give Rafael a chance to talk, but there's a couple things I want to sort of plant before I let Rafael take over. Chicago's been in the news a lot lately, so let's talk about that a little bit, and then we'll get back to workers' compensation. So this is a little pause before we dive deeper into workers' compensation. So we were talking before we started recording about that, and I want you to sort of comment. Like I said, Chicago's been in the news a lot lately, as has Portland, Oregon. And I want you to kind of shed some light on some of the news that we see. What we see isn't always what's exactly happening.
Correct.
Sometimes perspectives get skewed. So I just would like to hear from you, like, what's going on in Chicago, and is what we're seeing really happening?
Yeah, so Operation Midway Blitz is fully underway. The immigration efforts from the federal administration are in the area. A lot of them are in unmarked vehicles and actually patrolling a lot of the city neighborhoods. At times, on the outskirts of the city, there's a federal facility, ICE facility, that's in the news quite a bit. And that's the center, I would call that ground zero probably of a lot of the controversy that's going on currently. We are under an ordinance within the city to make sure that none of our city resources are utilized for, I want to carefully word it because I'm not legal to do this, but I'll just say we're not supposed to actually interfere or aid necessarily any of the federal enforcement. But if someone is in need, our first responders will be there and assist. And so occasionally, when you're dealing with fluid situations, protesting, things of that nature, anything may happen. And so some of our hardworking, brave members of our law enforcement may be inadvertently injured while trying to keep peace. And so recently that's been something that's happened for us that's affected our shop. Not to the point where we're looking for exorbitant exposure about claims, but just the volume of reporting incidents that have happened. And I just want to kind of be able to explain to folks how hardworking and brave our police officers are in this city. They face some unusual, very dangerous situations. And from my role, the least that I can do is to make sure that we're taking care of them when they are unfortunately injured. My shop financially makes sure that our catastrophically injured officers are cared for after the headlines. These folks are catastrophically injured for the rest of their lives. I have one individual that's in his 30s, and he's paralyzed. And so I wish that people would get the gravity of
Mhm.
the danger of our firemen and policemen and the work that they do, and what kind of physical toll and mental toll it takes on them to do the work that they do. And so our approach with managing claims, they're under a collective bargaining agreement and not
Mhm.
statutory comp per se, loosely based on it. But what we try to do is make sure that uh, our officers know that the city has their backs when they're faced with danger and injury.
Certainly, that's something that's important. I work for a company called Institutes of Health, based in San Diego, and we do a lot of work with first responders. So I echo your sentiments wholeheartedly.
I want you to give our listeners sort of the volume, right, of claims that you work, right? I want you to give them total claims per year. Give me how many employees the city has and your team, how many folks are handling. I mean, let's hear, from the nuts and bolts of your program and the city you serve so well. Give us a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Yep. Okay. We are third largest city in the country. We have roughly 33,000 employees. Um, our program for those injuries, for those unfortunately injured colleagues, is broken up into three tranches. We have a traditional civilian workers' compensation program, state of Illinois governing statute. We have a non-subscriber program for our police and fire based on the collective bargaining agreement. And then we have a set-aside aviation department program as well. All total, open right now, as of today, is about 3650, give or take 10 or 15. 1,500 on the civilian side, about 1,700 or so on the police and fire, and then the balance is aviation. All of those claims carry currently a reserve of somewhere near $700 million. That's total incurred. Most of it has been paid. I want to say that parenthetically, that most of it has been paid. My oldest claim is 1976. Guy just won't settle. I don't know. But he just won't settle. I want my check. And we average about 800 to 1,000 per year. I have a team of 5 city employees, and then the TPA runs about 30 individuals that are dedicated to us. Here's a rarity, and I guess the TPA would vouch for this. We do not have a lot of resolution manager, adjuster, examiner, claim champion. We don't have a lot of turnover. And the formula for that is they're part of the team, and I've done their job. And so I recognize the challenges that they have. In particular, in this day and age, we are asked to do things faster and check more boxes while doing it because we're measuring data. And the claim handling can sometimes suffer from that because you're so concerned about that, about checking the box. And so I try to explain to them that I understand where you're coming from. All I need from you is to execute at a high level, and I'll get out of your way. And we have some great professionals on that team, and I'm excited about the work that they do. But that's the formula to make sure that they are embedded and a part of our team, contacting some of our folks within the city and really understanding that they are an extension of the Department of Finance. One more statistic, I think I mentioned that we close at about a 1.2, 120% closing rate. And that continues. We push aggressively for the end of a claim, and we have a very adverse opinion about trying cases. It's workers' compensation, virtually no fault. What are we trying? So we're trying to make sure that we can come to an agreement on some of the smaller disputes that may go along in the life of a claim, and resolve them on the front end, and really try to establish a relationship of, hey, we want to resolve your claim when it comes to an end. So that's a little bit about it. Rafael, I hope I answered a lot about the statistics there, but that's where we are. I would ultimately love for that to be 2,000 claims. I think that that's a healthy playing weight for the city, and we're on our way.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my goodness gracious, that's a lot of folks that you're overseeing, right? That many employees in, I would imagine, every possible facet of work that any of us could even comprehend, right? It
Correct.
Isn't just, a bucket here and a bucket there. It's just about anything and everything, I would imagine.
That's right. So you're filling potholes, you're changing light fixtures, but you're also cutting down trees. You're on the water. You are bridge operators. You name it. You're a librarian. You're an administrative hearing person. Whatever you can name, we do. We even do medical facilities. We have a medical services section for the police and fire folks. So yes, every aspect, but even more, Rafael, the actual execution of this work and the strategy of it has taken everything that I could possibly know about claim and workers' compensation, every aspect of it, because not only do you have the ecosystem of a city that really takes care of its employees, which is kind of counterintuitive to some of the workers' compensation world. We pay what we owe, but the city's used to paying what we owe and then some. And then we have a strong pension component that goes along with our compensation to our employees. And finally, this is no different than anyone else. We have a very aged workforce. And so I'm aged. My daughters tell me how old I am all the time. And so I'm 56 years old. If I break my leg today, it is catastrophic. And so a lot of these folks, we have to think about when we're managing claims with them, that's somebody's uncle, granddad that broke his leg. Think about your granddad. And I try to have that approach with them to move things along. And then I challenge the TPA to go beyond. Make no small plans. Always go for the best. Go for the top. And ultimately, that's what my work here with the city is about. It is my goal to have the city of Chicago, and I'm recording this now, to be the gold standard for any municipality in workers' compensation. That includes our friends in Australia too. I want to be the global gold standard for municipality.
I love that. Ralph, we're going to have to do something about that. I'm going to have to get you talking to Joseph Sousa in San Diego, because we often say that about his program. So, it's true. We should have these guys get together and talk. And I know several folks in Australia, but getting together and talking about, gold standards, I think would just be a great thing. And I know that our friends over at IABC often do that kind of work. And I've been to a couple of their conferences. So I love it.
Me too. I know.
Yeah.
There it is. The challenge, baby. Let's go.
Well, listen, and also for some clarity, because I don't think I mentioned this when I started to ask you questions about, your role in your program, but just for clarity, your program is self-insured and self-administered. Is that right?
You know what? How did I miss that? Yeah.
You might have said it, it might have been baked in, but
Yes.
I just want to
We
clarify
are
that.
100% self-insured. And we've, up until about 6 years ago, we were self-administered.
Okay.
And therein lied the opportunity. We needed to have a professional administration as a city. But yeah, we're 100% self-insured. And so what we do directly affects our bottom line. Contemporarily, right now, we're talking about our budget, getting it together. And we directly impact that. We don't bring any revenue. I tell the comptroller all the time, I'm like, I spend money. I don't actually bring any in. So in order to try to temper that a little bit, we have a very strong subrogation practice that we've tailored uniquely for the city of Chicago with a long-standing subro partner. Actually, that partner actually does the subrogation for our group health as well. And it's been working out really well. And then I have someone in my team that manages it alongside our TPA. And we're doing 3 or 4 million a year. That's not bad.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
So you're self-insured and you have a professional partner to help you administer the claims. So I like to talk about that and just talk about how important that is when you're insuring your own claims. That's a big job, as you sort of laid out how it's you got your 3 different areas of claims and how much money that involves and how many claims that is. So it's a big job.
Yep. And I feel comfortable saying it because it's all public. It's everywhere. If you want to find it, you can find it. So
awesome. So Darrell, you shared with us before we started recording something I kind of want to bring up and talk about. So I was sharing. I wasn't sure if Ralph was going to be joining us because he's been dealing with a little bit of a health issue. Nothing bad. So just not to be concerning anybody. But you shared some important news of something that you went through last year, and I'd like you to talk about that. Have an opportunity to talk about it.
Man, I'm so glad to be able to talk about it on a platform. And so August 4th, I had a double kidney transplant. Everything is going great. I feel amazing. But the recovery is what's interesting. August 4th, August 27th, I was working and sitting where I'm sitting right now, performing work for the city. And then I returned to City Hall on September 16th. Now, throughout the reform of our program, I'm going to the nephrologist. I'm doing blood work every week. And no one knows the wiser about that. I'm just so concerned and focused on what I'm doing that I didn't even think about what it meant as far as, and now retrospectively, I have to say to myself, I must really love what I'm doing. and that's what it is. I didn't think anything about the major surgical procedure and life-changing event, more so than I was thinking about, and people are going to find this hard to believe, of when can I get back? And I had a discussion with our HR, and they said, "Oh, are you going to be out for a long time?" I'm like, "No, I'm coming back." And lo and behold, God blessed, and I was able to return very quickly, and everything's going great now. And it's given me more zeal, more energy to do the work that I think that I've been called to do here. So,
well, it's an amazing story, and I'm so glad you shared it because, as I mentioned, we don't know each other. So thank you for sharing this information. We have talked about the story of resilience. Resilience is something that's really important to me. And I like to talk about it as much as possible, but that's just such an incredible story.
Yeah.
And I think that you're right. Like when you do work that you love, it propels you through life, right? You want to get
Right.
back to doing what you're doing. And so anyway, I just applaud you. It sounds like I just can't get over the fact that your recovery was as short as it was. It sounds like everything I know about a kidney transplant, much less a dual kidney transplant. It's I thought it was a very complex and long recovery. So anyway, kudos to you. You look great. You sound great. And we're so happy that you're here.
Yep. I thank you very much for that. I'm a man of faith. I love the Lord. And there's a story. Father of faith goes up a hill with his son. He's supposed to sacrifice his son at the top of the hill. The son doesn't know it. They get up there and he says, "Hey, Dad, where's the sacrifice?" And just as he was about to sacrifice his son, there was a ram in the bush. And so I am of the mind that there's always a ram in the bush, only if you keep faith. And so at the beginning, before he started going up the hill, he said some words. He says, "We're going to go up the hill and make the sacrifice, and me and the lad will return." He already knew that he was going to return with his son, and he wasn't going to have to sacrifice. He just didn't know how it was going to happen. And I've always wanted this role that I have now. And it took a pandemic to put me here, but I'm here and I'm operating in the way that I believe my God told me to do it.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. That we love those kinds of stories. And Ralph knows that they're really special to me. I love it when we can tell a story of recovery like that. It's so important in our industry, the work that we do. And so anyway, thank you again. Thank you for sharing. And I agree that faith and mindset have so much to do with all of that.
Yep. And I just want to thank you all both for this opportunity. I was mentioning earlier that I don't get out and talk to a lot of folks. I don't go to a lot of industry events a lot. And particularly in this role, we're not really allowed to for ethics rules and all that. But sure. I wanted to be able to shed some light on our program because there's some good work. And I got some folks that work with me that are really doing yeoman's work to keep this thing going. And I just really wanted to highlight the TPAGB and my team, Kathy, Heenan, Taylor, Chittick, Tamika Long, Tiffany Williams, and Ashley Chin. All of those folks are contributing to our success, and we're so very grateful for the work that they're doing for the city.
Well, thank you for mentioning them. I'm going to ask you to, I'll send you an email. I'm going to ask you to email me those names so I can be sure and include them in our notes. But Ralph, anything else before we wrap it up? I can tell you right now, Darrell, we're going to be making a trip up to Chicago real soon to come visit you. So
I would love that. I would love that. And the city would love that. And all I would ask you to do is bring plenty money. We need that.
Darrell, I am so moved, first by the work that you are doing and how awesome that you just named, your team members, because we don't do it by ourselves, right? There are a lot of people surrounding you that I'm sure are working as hard as you are and are as committed and devoted, right, to the cause here. The in addition to this incredible work that you're doing and the challenges, that it presents, I mean, to also know your personal story, especially what you've been through here the last year, my goodness gracious. And I mean, you make it sound so easy, but it's, as Yvonne indicated, that resilience, that focus, that drive, that energy, that desire, right, to come back and do it again and do it right every day. Man, I can hear it in your voice. I can see it in your eyes. You are something special, Darrell Mathis. I am so incredibly proud to know you and to have you here today. What an awesome thing this is. Incredible.
That is extremely humbling. Thank you, Rafael. I tell you what, I'm like this all the time. So, and anybody will tell you that. It's just, it's one of those things. And my background. There's a block in Chicago. It's called O Block. Your kids may know about it. You may never have heard about it. My grammar school sits 20 feet from O Block. I grew up that way. All of the stuff that you may see on TV and all that about how there are bad areas in the city, I grew up around all that stuff. But it made me love this city, to be able to try to do the best that I can to improve it. My wife and I have always lived and will probably always will live in the city of Chicago. And it's in our blood. So that passion you hear that's what it is. It's just, we love where we live.
That's amazing. I've been sharing stories like that a lot lately, and a lot of folks are not happy, very frustrated, very upset, and what can we do to fix what's going on? And all I'm going to say is, yes, there's a lot that's going on that's not wonderful, but I tell everybody, focus on your community.
Yeah, do your part.
Do your part in your community with the people that you live next door to.
That's it.
And when you focus on community, I'm not going to say what's beyond community doesn't matter, because it does, but it's the most important part is, taking care of the community where you live. So
yeah,
obviously that's something that you do and take to heart. So we can't thank you enough for sharing your story. And, there's so many more things I'd like to ask you. I wish I could go for another 45 minutes or so, but before we do let you go,
just give me a call. Give me a call. We'll talk about it all.
There's a couple more things. So you might not know this, but one of the things that we like to do with this podcast is we put it out there in hopes that folks that are younger and just kind of like learning about workers' compensation and this vast, complex industry that we talk about. Not that it's vast, but it's complicated. What would you say to somebody that's kicking the tires and thinking about maybe coming into this industry? What would you like to say to those folks in hopes that they might, really take it seriously?
But I had 3 daughters. I tried. They didn't do it. Okay. Well, wait a minute. No. What I tell younger folks is that I know it sounds like claims, insurance. It sounds really boring. But I explain to them that you could have an extremely lucrative lifestyle in all of the areas that you're thinking you're going to school for. So if you want to be an architect, you could do that.
Yeah.
In insurance and in claims. You could be a forensic architect. And I try to, any young person that I come across, I try to, what do you want to do? And try to explain to them that there's an angle for them in risk transfer. Also, I'm a part of an organization. It's called Black Boy Lit, is what we do at our church. And what it is it's teaching youth who are reading below grade level, taking a summer for enrichment to get them up to par, and also exposing them to things like risk transfer, business, and things of that nature. These are inner city kids, never seen it before. And so those are the encouragement opportunities that I have because of just being around the city. And so what I would tell a young person is, don't think of it as just the stuffy grandpa's insurance. Think of it as a multifaceted, dynamic world of business. Because in every aspect of business, and this is particularly the financial industry, you will find insurance there somewhere. And that's what I try to tell the kids.
I love that.
Me too, because it's very true. You're absolutely right. Yvonne and I have been so incredibly amazed at our guests. Every walk of life, went to college to do this, that, and the other, and we've discovered how applicable all of that is to our little neck of the woods here. It's amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah, I can't believe I mentioned O Block. Uh-oh.
I love it. So yeah, I'm going to send you an email to follow up and make sure I got all the terms and everything right, because I would like to work those into our notes. But
sure.
Ralph, is there anything that you were dying to ask Darrell that you didn't get an opportunity to?
So Darrell, you in addition to this amazing human being and the work that you're doing, you sound like a really fun guy. So I think I want to know, what do you do to relax? What do you do, to turn off work? I know you've got a wonderful family, but how do you sort of take a little time for yourself? What do you do? What do you like to do out there for fun?
So I am a media junkie. Doesn't matter what it is. Right now, I'm in the middle of a documentary about, believe it or not, Hitler and Hitler's rise on the History Channel. I'm a media junkie and I'm a sports nut. So when I'm unwinding, I am actually watching a lot of media and sports. And then what I do outside of work, I teach. I'm a Bible teacher. And so I teach a class once a week, different subject matters, just different disciplines. And we're about to go into another session. So those are the fun things that I do. And then, and I'm a tennis nut.
Oh, tennis. There you go.
Yeah.
You guys have that in common. Ralph loves tennis as well.
I love tennis. And Ralph, they did an amazing job with the U.S. Open this year. Like, they really did a great job. The entire presentation was just amazing. And I'm trying to get out to Indian Wells next year. So we'll see.
Lisa, my wife and I, she surprised us with U.S. Open tickets this year. So we were able to be up there and watch, some beautiful matches. I remember, 70s Jimmy Connors, Bjorn Borg, under the lights at the U.S. Open. Yep. Got to experience that, a couple of matches this year. Amazing. And you're right, Darrell. They did such an incredible job of celebrating culture and diversity within tennis. It was, I get goosebumps because they did. They shined a light, especially the ladies, who just have been amazing. So yeah, what a great job. Kudos to the U.S. Open altogether.
And it was a celebration of Althea Gibson this year too. That was the logo. It was just amazing. Everything. You're right. Just amazing. And so I started playing tennis when I was 8, and that kept me out of a lot of trouble. And it exposed me to a world, and it just stuck with me since then. So I had folks over for the ladies' final. I did honeydew drinks for everybody.
That was the drink of the tournament. Everybody was walking around with one. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get up there. I've got a couple of stories about Arthur Ashe that I'm going to share with you that
I would love to hear them.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see you up there in Chicago.
Yeah.
All right, so Ralph, we're going to have to, when we're working on our calendar, we're going to have to find a good time in the summertime to go up and visit Darrell, our new friend in Chicago.
So on the horizon for the summer, we are as a work goal. I am very hopeful that I have an improved first responder medical apparatus right now. That's an area. So you all check with me in 6 months, and let's see if I made some improvements there. I'm challenging myself there.
Absolutely.
I wrote it down, so we will check in with you. Well, listen, Darrell, this has been so fun and so informative getting to know you, and I can't wait to see you again real soon.
I really am looking forward to it, and I really, again, thank you for the opportunity.
Ralph, any parting words?
Thank you, Darrell. Really, really appreciate what you're doing, man. It's awesome.
Thank you for leading the way. You're just amazing. I can't wait to share your story.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Wow, Rafael, can you believe it? It's December 1st, and we have, as of today, 51,503 downloads.
Unimaginable, Yvonne. I know, I can't believe it. I really can't. We are so incredibly grateful to each of our listeners for their support, for tuning in. We can't say it enough, can we? Thank you so much.
It really means a lot to have you with us. So please continue to like and share our content on social media. You can find Deconstructing Comp Podcast on LinkedIn. That's where we post our episodes. You can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Where else can they find us, Ralph?
You know what, Yvonne? Thanks to you and your wonderful efforts, we are now on YouTube as well. So not only can they listen to us, they can watch our shenanigans, and they can comment on every episode in each of the social media outlets we've got. They can truly connect with us and let us know what's happening and how much they're enjoying each of these episodes, right?
That's right. So not only can you hear us, you can, as Rafael mentioned, watch the magic behind the episodes that we put together. Sometimes it's really interesting. And every interaction helps our new listeners find us. So every like, every share, every comment. So please continue to do that. We love how our podcast has grown. And man, we're closing up season 5, and we'll see you soon with season 6.
You got it. Season 6. Listen to that.
I know. So until then, hasta luego.
Hasta luego.